Hey, loungers. I hope everybody is doing as great as I am and I'm having a wonderful week like I am today. Hope everybody's doing good. We're not going to be very long today. I just have a few things that I wanted to remind our favorite therapist of today, Miss Afro Svengali, because for some reason she has seemed to have forgotten about a lot of things that have gone on in the past few years in regards to her and what information that we have now in regards to her and what she's actually facing. Okay. So I'm here to remind this chick of all of that. Okay. But before I do that, I actually want to get into a little bit more information in regards to the Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay. Because there is a new thing that has come out in regards to the Jehovah's Witnesses that a lot of XJWs who are not following them would be very shocked to find this out. Okay. As crazy as it may sound, as weird as it may sound to people who would be called worldly, okay, people who have never been part of the organization, don't really know much about the organization, it probably wouldn't even matter to you. But for those of us who still have family members in the organization, for those of us who are have been baptized and have been part of the organization at some point in their lives, I definitely want to get into that today. So make sure you guys hit the like button on the way in, and then we're going to get into this anti stuff right now. So let's go ahead and get into it, guys. I do want to preference this conversation first with an apology, an open and public apology to Tiff P. I do apologize for the other day. Okay. Now, I was a bit tipsy. I'm not even going to hold you. And y'all know I can't stand Stargate. Okay. I said some things to Stargate that I would not normally say. However, I said it. And I don't really feel bad about it because I felt like I needed her to feel exactly what everyone else had felt and how this was so inappropriate to say. But, you know, it was the wrong time in the wrong place. And I wanted to let Tiff P know that, even though I know she doesn't really feel any type of way, but I do. And so I wanted to say that because my conscience was bothering me, just only in regards to her. Now, when it comes to Stargate, I don't particularly feel bad about what I said because I wanted her to get the sting of the things that she has said to every other Black woman in this space and anybody else that just disagrees with her. Okay. But I'm not going to repeat those words again. And, you know, I've cleansed myself from that and I'm not going to do that anymore. I don't apologize to Stargate, but I most definitely do apologize to Tiff P because it wasn't appropriate on her channel. Now, let's move on. Let's talk about these Jehovah's Witnesses, okay? Because, child, there's a whole lot going on with them. And as usual, things change over time as they get, quote unquote, new light, okay? And there's something new that has changed with them once again. So we're going to get into that right away. But before I do, let me talk to you guys in the chat. Hey, Teresa, I definitely appreciate you for being in the building. Steph Collins, you said, woo, let's get it. Definitely appreciate you being in the building, sis. Clark, I appreciate you being in the building as well. Redbone with the new money, definitely appreciate you being in the building. Clark says hello to the loungers. Hey, Taya Gray, definitely appreciate you being in the clouds and listening today. Appreciate you. Steph Collins says they believe in the Trinity now. Cha. Now that would be freaking hilarious if they ever turned out for the Jehovah's Witnesses to turn out to believe in the Trinity. But no, that hasn't happened as of yet, but we'll find out what happens in the near future. Okay. You said good afternoon, y'all. Good afternoon, y'all. What it do? Okay, guys, so let's get into these J-dubs, okay? So for all of my life as a Jehovah's Witness and even up to now, I have always known that the Jehovah's Witnesses have had a problem, at least in the United States, with men wearing beards, okay? Now, there's been other places in other countries where that hasn't been a thing, but most definitely in the United States, it is a thing that Jehovah's Witnesses were not supposed to wear beards. Now, there was no scripture that they could find that would put this in place. As a matter of fact, in most scriptures, especially in the Old Testament, the men were wearing beards. Okay. There's parts of the Bible where they talk about the oil running down Aaron's beard and other things of that nature. They've talked about different beards. So the JWs never really had a real reason for why they were telling their members that they weren't allowed to wear beards. However, they have now changed that policy. Okay. So Jehovah's Witness men are now allowed to rock their goatees. They're now allowed to rock their beards and all this other stuff. Okay. And a lot of people are kind of wondering what made that change. Well, there's only speculation because none of us are there in those meetings with the governing body to find out why and how they come to these conclusions. I do know that one of the brothers, Ray Franz, who used to be in the governing body, he used to talk about how, they would get together. And he said there was never any prayer. There was never anything that really led them by the Spirit, quote unquote, as to the words that they would give to the people. They were just coming up with policies amongst each other based off of feelings, emotions, and different things along those lines. And it seems to have been that way since the JW's beginning. Okay. But where this seems to have first come into play was when Rutherford was in the organization. He was one of the main members of the organization. So J.F. Rutherford is this guy who was like a drunk, a pedophile. You name it, he was all of that, okay? And he was all up in the mix. And he was the one that came up and implemented that whole idea that Jehovah's Witnesses are not to wear beards, okay? So from that time on, probably 1930s or so on, is when the JW stopped wearing these beards. And it's kind of been that way for almost 100 years now, okay? And so now here we are today where the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, or JW.org, which is what they're known as today, has decided to kind of lift this and allow people to do what they want to do. I'm thinking that the reason that they're doing this is because, number one, they can't find any scriptural reason for why. Number two, they know exactly how many people are out here talking about this very same subject and how various countries are comparing these notes with one another now based off of the internet, okay? Because let's face it, 20 years ago, people didn't have this type of access to each other, okay? We weren't able to access the internet and speak to people across the world, talk about various things. And so they have to kind of clean up their act and clean up kind of the things that they've been doing under the table that have been policies as opposed to scripture. And that's kind of what I believe is what's happening with that. I can't guarantee that. I don't really know, but that's what it sounds like to me. But as of for today, Jehovah's Witnesses in the United States are now allowed to wear beards, okay? So that is hilarious to me. I find that super funny. And anybody that's been a part of the organization would definitely understand the significance of that. I definitely also believe that they know that they are completely under fire, along with these other churches and other religious organizations now. And so they have to clean up and sweep up kind of the loose ends and figure out, how to get things cleaned up and make themselves look a lot better. So I'm thinking that is exactly what's going on with this situation. And again, they actually admitted that there is no scriptural reason to keep that up. Okay. And so that is why they've decided, at least in front of the public, for why they're doing this. Okay. You guys let me know in the comment section what y'all think about that. But yeah, I most definitely thought that that was hilarious and definitely a huge leap for Jehovah's Witnesses who still want to remain part of the organization today. Obviously, they're giving you a lot more, a lot more of the ability to be liberal. And I also think, Steph, I think it's because of the younger generations in the organization. Now, there aren't many new people that become witnesses that are younger these days. Most people that are pretty young, they tend to not join the organization. A lot of people that have been that are in the organization have already been there for quite some time. There's some baptisms every year, but not nearly as many as there used to be. And so I do think that does and is making a difference in it. I think they're trying to lean towards a younger generation of people because they know the younger generation is what's going to end up carrying them in the future. And so they've got to get rid of all these strict rules that make no sense, right? Like the tight pants, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna take that away soon now that Toni Morris isn't there anymore. I'm pretty sure they're going to do some other things as well. So yes, I agree. I think it's to attract membership. What's up, Dr. Frack? You said T-Pre. My son told me this around 3 weeks ago. And what's amazing is that other JWs from other countries have allowed this. Exactly, Dr. Fratt. This is what I was saying earlier, is that this isn't really a thing in other countries, particularly like in South America, and anywhere in the Caribbean, in Africa. They're not talking about anybody not wearing beards. It's usually like in certain spaces, certain countries, but mostly in the United States is where they made that a thing. It was a problem. It wasn't a problem before because we didn't have the internet and people weren't really able to talk with one another, communicate with other Jehovah's Witnesses, communicate with other ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, and so forth and so on. And so they weren't able to compare notes with one another. But there's a lot of differences in what the United States allows in the organization as opposed to other countries, right? I'll give you an example. I know that in our country, joining the military is a major no-no, even though they are invested in multiple military companies, but they will never allow a person in the organization to join the military. However, in Africa, that's not the case. They allowed them to actually partake in a particular military. There was something going on with the military, and they allowed those brothers to partake in that. They could care less whether those brothers were protected or not. Also, there was another difference with that from them to a Mexican organization where in Mexico, they had allowed certain things and allowed them to take this card and to compromise their religious beliefs, to take this card so they can keep themselves alive. In Africa, they had changed that. And here in the US, it's just a no-no. You're not compromising anything, right? So it all depends on where you are in the world, who you know, and so forth and so on when it comes to the Jehovah's Witnesses. But they definitely did change that whole thing in regards to that. So just wanted you guys to know about that. You said, I think a lot of stricter religious organizations are having to loosen up because they are shrinking. Yes. The JWs are definitely shrinking in numbers. Again, they are not getting nearly as many baptisms as they have gotten in the past. And I do think it has to do with the age of the internet and all the information that has come out about the organization, where it's right at your fingertips to find. Anything in regards to the Watchtower, you can find it, okay? And even as far as their old literature, there's people that have their old literature that is still on display. I know a young woman whose grandmother is still an ex-JW, and even though, and she's not, well, she's still a JW. And even though the family are not JWs, this person let me know just casually that their grandmother still had a copy of all the books from the past, right? Like the Book of Bible Stories, the Revelation book, and all these other things. And any person that has known this or has known about the organization for a while knows that the organization had instructed every congregation to actually burn the old books from the past. And if they weren't able to burn those books, they were to turn them in to the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society in New York. And some people just did not do that, and they still have copies of it. When I let her know that, she was pretty shocked to find out that her grandmother had been instructed that. But she also knew that her grandmother had always been kind of more liberal, and that she wasn't one of those people that was going to go along with the get along when it came to the JWs. So, with someone like that, I wouldn't be surprised that they would look at that sideways and then keep those books for some reason or another. Okay, so thank God there are people like that are still out here that have copies of those books. And those books you can find on eBay. You can go into some thrift stores and find them. There's ways to find books from the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society from the past. But yeah, they are definitely shrinking, and they've got to loosen up a lot of these weird ass rules that they've had over the years that have, been so rigid, because people are just not going to tolerate it. People can just move on. They don't have to deal with them as much as they used to, and people don't have the same fear that they used to have with people. So anyway, hey, brother of a certain age, I appreciate you being in the building. You said, do you think it's to keep younger people in the organization? Possibly, possibly. But again, like I said, not many people are joining anymore. And if they do, they either rejoin or, they come in at a later age. They're not coming in at this young age that they used to anymore. You said the Latter-day Saints men don't have beards either, not the young ones I've seen in my neighborhood. They don't. And as a matter of fact, the LDS is very, very similar to the organization, the Jehovah's Witnesses. There's a few organizations, the Seventh-day Adventists, and the Latter-day Saints. They're all kind of very similar. Mormons, very similar. There's very, very small differences between them, but they all follow the bite model. And I think you guys know ad nauseum what the bite model is all about now, because I have talked about that many times on the channel, which is behavior, information, thought, and emotional control. And they all kind of follow that. So yeah, that's what's going on with that. And you said maybe it's to attract membership, Stephanie. Yeah. And again, like I said, that would be kind of the only thing. So one of the questions that people might ask is, well, I heard, Jehovah Witnesses can't wear beards. And they're like, oh, no, you can wear whatever you want. This kind of giving them some marketing tools to tell people, so that they can kind of overcome some of the things that they've done in the past. But yeah, you said the LDS church is hemorrhaging members. The younger generations are sick of it. And that's what's happened with the JWs too. A lot of us have been affected by what has happened with the organization. Whether it's been the sex abuse that's happened in the organization or the shunning of family members and so forth and so on. Some people have committed suicide from that, unalive themselves and so forth because of this, and so the younger generations are just like, we're not dealing with that. And it's not even just them. It's just religion, organized religion itself, right? Even the Bible and God had even talked about in the last days, people would run away from these types of things. So I'm not surprised at all. But, the churches are doing what they can to kind of like scrounge around and find ways to get people to come in. And, that seems to be what's happening right now. Yeah, Dr. Fratt, ain't that something? You said, so you're probably right. The fact that people, hey, brother of a certain age says, so you're probably right. The fact that people are able to communicate all over the world probably puts a little pressure on them with their local United States members, most definitely, because like I said, there was a time where they can hide all of this stuff from each other, right? And just say things to you. And even across the country, they can say something different, because there were even different rules depending on whatever congregation you went to, right? So, they might be able to say something to this remote congregation here, but then in this city congregation, they won't say the same things, right? Until now, where everybody's on YouTube talking about it, everybody's on Facebook, they're on Instagram talking about it, and you can't hide the people from it, especially when they put jw.org on there, right? So if you introduce your people to the internet to begin with, now they have the ability to, at their fingers, to go anywhere they want on the internet, and people are going to be curious, especially when these fulfillments of prophecy that they have come up with have never been fulfilled, or they've had to change their prophecies over the years and various things like that. Now people are curious to see, whether, see the other side and hear other sides and other points of view, especially from people who are ex-JWs and how they have been affected by those things. Also, people who have been in the organization for years and have expected certain outcomes, and they're not getting those outcomes. And, but yet their families are suffering, so yeah, they had to change a lot of things because of that. You said, I stopped saluting the flag after a discussion with a JW in my class in the 3rd grade. So I never saluted the flag. That was something that we weren't able to do as a JW growing up. And it just stuck with me even after I left the organization. It's just not something I do. I stand, I respect it, but, I'm not going to raise my arm to nothing talking about any of that. And I have my own reasons for that. And some of it does coincide with what the witnesses used to teach, but other things are for other reasons. You said, I have the greatest man around here somewhere. Oh, the Green Book. Yeah, I read that one too. You said, we have a large LDS in our neighborhood. I only see the young people out in the neighborhood inviting everyone to church. We have a large Scientology church as well. Yeah, there's a couple Scientology churches out here. And I haven't seen any LDS churches out here. Um, I can look around though, but I haven't seen a Latter-day Saints church in Delaware at all. I'm pretty sure there is one somewhere though, probably further south. You said, Aboka, what's good? You said, because of technology, we're becoming a global community. And with that, I believe JWs have to adapt to a wider audience to appeal to new congregants. Yeah, and they're going to have to get rid of a lot of the rigid stuff that they have been doing over the years if they want to continue. But I don't see them continuing much longer. As a matter of fact, I don't really honestly see organized religion continuing much longer, right? I do think that there will be a time where all of that will come to a complete end. And I see that starting to happen now with the stuff that's unraveling with the, you know, the putting out information in regards to these churches and what's happening with these pastors, these ministers, and stuff like that. I think a lot of this stuff is coming to head, and yeah, I think this is definitely a thing. And if you look at any of these religious books, you can see some of that prophecy being fulfilled. He said, Stephanie Collins, counselor, I'm just chilling. He said, I went to a Kingdom Hall with a girl I had a crush on when I was in the 6th grade, and she made sure I left with one. Child. That's wild. That's wild. She gave you the green book. That's crazy. I'm glad she didn't give you the red book, the Revelation book, child, because you would have been like, what is going on, girl? Not in the 6th grade, though, but yeah, they used to actually, just expose us as children to a lot of very crazy things, right? And it would have you like really scared of the world if if you didn't know any better, if you weren't more fortified, if you didn't have some fortified family members, you'd be pretty scared of what's going on in this world if it wasn't, if they were able to leave it up to them. And a lot of witness parents that are like around my parents' ages, they thought, their kids would never make it to, high school, would never make it to junior high school and stuff like that. They thought that the end would come before then. And so a lot of things they just simply didn't teach their kids, and that I just happen to fall into some of that when it comes to that category. And other witnesses, have fell into that as well. But either way, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of conversation in regards to the J-Dubs, because, child, these Negroes are something else, okay? But let's go ahead and get into this AFW stuff and this anti stuff, because I think that she thinks that we have forgotten. And ma'am, we haven't, okay? We're going to get into it right now, guys. Dr. Fratt, you said, Steph, like you and T. Pre, I have a background in the JWs. I couldn't align my beliefs with their documents. I'm the same. I just could never get with anything regarding them. I always had a relationship with God, though. I always had a relationship with the Most High. But when it came to their teachings and their doctrine, it just didn't make sense, And I made that very clear all my life. I always had questions. I always asked questions. I always gave pushback on everything that they talked about. And my dad really didn't press the issue till I was like 12 or 13 years old, which probably by then it was a little bit too late, but it is what it was. But yeah, by then I just wasn't fooling with it. The only reason I got baptized is so I can get off punishment, because my dad put me on punishment if I didn't get baptized. So that was the only reason I did it, and I did, and it was cool, and it was where it was. But, yeah, I never got with their doctrines either. You said every Southern Baptist child had those moments when they couldn't find their parents in the house and they thought the rapture had happened. Yeah. Revelation was taught like a doomsday 10 minutes to midnight. Yeah, absolutely. I remember feeling that way too. I remember waking up and not hearing any noise in the house and thinking that not the rapture, but that the Armageddon had come, because we didn't believe in the rapture. Even though we did believe in the rapture, but we always wanted to use a different word than what the churches used, right? So we called it just Armageddon, and that they would be caught up, but it wasn't all the saints. It was just the 144,000 that we thought were going to be caught up, which obviously wasn't them white brothers, in the Watchtower organization. But that's another conversation for another day. Let's go ahead and get into this AASBS, because, child, this woman is over here tripping, okay? Now, I want her to be reminded of some things, but I'm going to get into her community wall and the things that she's been talking about lately. I'm not going to say everything. I just want to talk about a couple of things, because I think that she's just so silly and so dumb, for doing all this. So let's go ahead and get into this real quick. 4 hours ago, Anti says, don't perpetuate federal offenses if you don't want your targets talking about it, right? No expiration date. I want you to be reminded of your own words, ma'am, because you're right. There is no expiration date on the fuck shit that you have done over the past several years, okay? And how many people's addresses, how many people's family members' information, how many people's job information that you have pulled from these systems of people that you work for, such as Kepro, okay? Now, we're not going to pretend, ma'am, that you are not aware of the fact that you have been doing that, okay? And we're also not going to pretend that Kepro is not aware of the fact that you have been doing that, okay? Because we are very aware that they are. You said harassment, slander, threats, anti-protected class attacks, false accusations, stealing the federally protected information of others and passing it around was purposeful, shutting those up who were targets. This only works if the targets believe they physically or mentally exist on a slave plantation. We know our rights. We know our rights, will continue to defend our rights and report in all violations to authorities and other decision makers. Furthermore, we'll post about any situation of our choosing and all subjects involved. There is no expiration date on defending our rights, speaking about our rights, and reminding the world who violated our rights. This applies to the past, current, and future. Hashtag caught in your own federally offending trap. Yes, ma'am, you have been caught in your trap, okay? And I'm going to help you understand how bad, because we're not talking about the Social Security Administration and this whole thing that you're trying to pass off and trying to pass around as if this is the bombshell of all things that have been going on out here. No, ma'am, it's been you, okay? Because what you are, and I'm going to look at it real quick. I'm going to give you your the position that you hold at Kepro. And I want everybody else to know that. That's some information that I have not released. But I'm going to go ahead and release that now, because I think everybody needs to know. I think it's high time that everybody quite understands what you do at that job, okay? And why it is so important to know when you're going and putting in your complaints against her. She has a position called a PASRR evaluator. And we're going to look that up and find out what that means, okay? So let's look up PASSR evaluator. One moment. And I'm not sure which level of that she is. It could be level 1, level 2. There's a couple of different levels of this. But what this means is she is a pre-admission screening and resident reviewer, okay? Meaning that she will determine, and this is for California, and let me just get into what exactly that they do so that you guys fully understand what exactly they are involved with, okay? Because again, when we're talking about, trying to get somebody's information, when we're talking about pulling people's information, we want to make it very clear what a PASRR does. Okay, so the California Department of Healthcare Services PASRR section is responsible for determining if individuals with serious mental health issues, what they will need when it comes to care, how far their care will go. And the purpose of the PASRR is to ensure that individuals being considered for admission to a Medicaid certified facility are evaluated for evidence of possible conditions such as serious mental conditions, intellectual disabilities, developmental disabilities, or any other related conditions. Okay. So, in order to do that, you have to go through certain programs, you have to go through certain systems. And being into the Medicaid and Medicare programs, there are certain things that are privy to you, okay, that would not be privy to anyone else. So pretty much in the 50 United States of America, you are able to find anybody's information, no matter what it is, okay? You can find out whether somebody has been in the military. You can find out whether they've been discharged or honorably discharged or dishonorably discharged. You can find out whether somebody has had received what type of medications that they're on, what type of medications they've received and why. They may not give you an exact reason or exact diagnosis, but sometimes they do. But if they do give you if they don't give you an exact diagnosis, they may in fact give you the medication that they're taking, which will give you an understanding of what their diagnosis is. Also, it'll tell you exactly where they work, how long they've been working there, where they live. All of these things can come out from places such as Kipro, where you actually work at, okay? And in the position that you work in, because you have to do some substantial evidence. You have to catch up on substantial information on that person to make a determination in regards to them, okay? And in regards to, what needs to be done for them, okay? So this is how and why you have been able to pull people's information, at least since September of 2022. Now, we do know that you have also been doing this in another place. I'm not going to mention that place as of yet because I haven't been able to fully verify. I'll say that. We have not been able to fully verify that yet, but that's on the way. Okay. But this information is well known to Kipro at this point. And they are very interested in this, and there is an investigation in place. And I know you know that, okay? So I suggest, okay, in particular, Anti. Now, I'm not going to tell you, stop talking about everybody and stop sharing people's information and all this other stuff. You do what you want to do, okay? But honey, I don't know if you understand, for the 15 people or the 20 people that give you a like, they are not going to keep paying. They are not going to pay you the $80,000 a year that you make with these people, okay? No, ma'am. You're going to be broke as a joke, fooling with this when you keep going around, bullying the people online, talking trash about the people online, trying to talk about D. Durrell, especially D. Durrell, and all these other people that you keep coming for, ma'am, and knowing that you have used their systems and other systems to pull people's personal identifiable information, okay? So I want you to be fully reminded of yourself, okay? You need to think back and think about over the years, all the information that you have used against people, how you have sent sleeves of information on people to other people, and how you have also sent payments to those people to go after people, to defame them, to harass people, to dox people, and so forth and so on, to cause harm to people. Do you know you're facing real charges, ma'am? I think you don't, okay? So I'm going to let you be great. I'm going to let you be great and enjoy yourself and have your wonderful day and keep going back and forth with your remote job as a PASRR, okay? I want you to keep doing that, okay? Because I promise you, ma'am, now that they have the direct place that you're working, they have the direct contact of who you're working for, they have the direct contact of the department that you work in, okay? This is not going to turn out well for you at all, okay? Not at all, ma'am. And sending, copyright strikes and privacy complaints to people and all this other shit, it's not going to work. Just to let you know, Anti, YouTube did not care about these privacy complaints you tried to send out against me, okay? It didn't work, okay? Your email address is not personal identifiable information, so they don't give a fuck about me showing an email that you sent out to other people. That is not protected information. Okay. So no, ma'am, they did not take the videos down. Okay. It does not matter how badly you wanted that to happen. If you don't have this picture that I got up on here as a copywritten, which we're waiting, if you want to copyright that picture and then you want to go ahead and strike people's channels because they have this picture up, so be it, ma'am. But you and I both know that is you, okay? So I really don't care about any of that. I don't care about showing your emails. I don't care that Shakim is showing your emails. I don't care who's showing your emails. The bottom line is, ma'am, you are done and you are absolutely cooked at this point, and none of us care. Okay, we're tired of you bullying the people of this sector. We're tired of you thinking that you can come for people and that you can silence people by doxing, silence people by putting people's personal information out, by exposing people's personal information. We are tired, okay, at this point. We're sick of it. We're tired of you paying people to defame people. We're tired of your bullshit. So now everything that you have done is now falling on your head. And that's unfortunate for you. It really is. But I don't feel sorry for you. I really don't. Okay. And we have not, as the people, we have not forgotten. So if it makes you feel better to get 22 likes, 21 likes on some bullshit that you're talking about, that's on you. That 21 likes is not going to add up to an actual job, okay? And it took you that long to get that job. Took you that long to get that job while you still at 60 years old acquiring jobs, okay? Yeah, it took you this long to actually get it. And at this point, it's not going to be the same. See, this time, ma'am, they're coming for your license, okay? This time, ma'am, they're coming for the board, okay? You won't be able to practice ever again. You won't have access to such information ever again when Kepro is done with your ass. And I know that. I know it. I can say it with confidence. I'm not going to tell you everything I know. I'm not even going to tell you half of everything I know. But you know I know. You know I know. That's why you don't even want to mention my name in these damn little things you be talking about on these, on these community walls that you be saying. You be trying to reference a bitch without actually saying my name. Okay. Yeah, I know you're right. I know you're right. I suggest you do that with everybody else too, ma'am. Okay. And leave Rev G alone. Let that man live. Okay. He does not have to go down with you. I feel sorry for him in a sense. Like, because every single time that, he gets hit and his job gets hit, which has been happening a lot lately, and they're getting hit up, and these now we're maybe having these sponsors getting hit up and so forth and so on. Now that all of that is going on, he's trying to move away from you, and you keep pulling him back in with whatever you're holding over his head. Rev G, you need to let it go. Whatever it is that she got over your head, so be it, because none of us are going to care. We might care for 24 hours, and then after that, we'll be over it. And it might be something we already know any freaking way. Okay. So I'm not sure why you keep, fighting on her behalf. But if you want to go down with that shit with her, that's on you, sir. Okay. I don't know what to tell you after that. Either way, guys, I wasn't going to be on here long. I just wanted to share that with y'all and share that with Anti in particular, because she really needs to particularly understand that we're not moved. We're not moved by any of the shit you're talking about, okay? We are very aware of how much on your ass Kepro is. And I know you know too. I know you know too. I know you feeling the heat. That's why you scrubbed your channel like you did. But did you know that there is a database full of shit that you have said and have done with these people over the past few years? Did you know that? I don't think you know how many of your posts that people have, how many of your videos that people have, and can prove that it came from you. And guess who wants to see it all? Kepro. Shout out to you for giving us all that entertainment and giving them hours and hours of fun, girl, because they got some stuff to go through, okay? We ain't going to talk about any of these meetings or anything, but either way, let's go ahead and get up to these comments. You said, well, you know, she has severe selective memory, okay? Just saying. You said, I want to know why in the whole hell she thinks it's okay to circulate a social security number as long as you didn't get it directly from the Social Security Administration. Girl, and wonder where she got it from? Because see, allegedly, if we're going to go with this whole idea that Mona was the one that was giving this to her, right? Allegedly, Mona just started at that place in June of last year. Anti has been passing out people's addresses, people's jobs, information on people for several years, okay? And so this whole idea of, oh, guys, the Social Security. No, her and Rev G have been looking up people's information along with some others. I'm not going to mention other names, but her and some others, her and Rev G and a couple others, y'all know who y'all are, okay? And shout out to y'all for turning ship and, you know, not fucking with her no more. But, you know, her and Rev G in particular have been pulling up people's information using Medicaid, Medicare systems, and so forth for many, many years. And we're not going to pretend you have it, bitch. Okay? I'm not going to pretend you have it. Okay? You know you have. I know you have. And guess who else knows you have? Kepro. Yes, girl. They know too. Damn shame, Anti. Damn shame. But yeah, girl. You said, so stealing... It is it a difference? Circulating, is it okay? Right. Well, she did both. She stole and she circulated. So I don't know what she think about that. You said they are cooking up a new storyline. I'm calling it now. They're going to say Palmer's kids' Social Securities were stolen and are being used for fraudulent financial activities, right? And we are looking forward to seeing these new credit cards and these new bank accounts and these new cars and houses and all this stuff that have been purchased with their bad credit. That's what we're looking forward to, okay? What's up, Eyes? Eyes, I was over there at your channel, but everything just kind of like stopped. And I was going to go and do this video later, but I didn't hear anything else, so I just went live. But shout out to you and I feel you, girl, on what you was talking about, too. You said, does she ever diagnose anyone with being demon louse, loser freaks, or who are spawns of Satan? Girl, is she out here, you know, putting these patients at risk, who, you know, need to be placed and stuff? Does she have certain prejudices against certain people that she uses against these patients and against these clients is a very big question for a lot of people. You said, but wouldn't an investigation reveal if that happened and who is doing it? That is what investigations are for. Exactly. Yes. Yes. See, all this whole thing about throwing everybody off in the sector is not changing what's happening in real life. Okay. Like in real life, regardless of how many dollars and how many Subway sandwiches you buy for niggas and how many times, you know, you send somebody $20 on a Cash App, or you give them your last and give them $8.20 to try to one up Eyes in the sector and all this other stuff. Like, where's your job going to be next year, girl? Are you going to have that money next year? Because they coming for that license too. Yeah, shit. Girl, you said, is calling me a woman who dresses like a man in anti-protected class? Child, I'm wondering if talking about people who have been molested or raped, is that, you know, a protected class, you know? While she's talking about other people's sexuality, is that okay? You know, these are things I wonder. Toast up to you as well, Diggable Logic. Definitely appreciate you being in the building. Propane Oak Lane, definitely appreciate you. You said, shut out the gummy Loke. You said that is rich. The nerve she has complaining about privacy. Girl, just saying. You said, OMG, that's that object's real pic. Obviously, was she out here trying to copyright strike everybody over it? Well, child, get that copyright on that fucking picture, okay? So I could start up a new channel for the sector and talk about the picture again and take it down every time I'm done. But yeah, she out here hitting people channels over this shit, child. And then YouTube ain't made me remove nothing yet. The only one they made me remove was the one that P had, which, you know, he said it was me harassing him, which, okay, sir, but whatever, right? You said Stephanie Best Vest Eyes and Clark. You said if he was a real Rev, he would be able to use his discernment and ask God for wisdom and know what action to take. He is a fake Rev. Yeah, like a lot of these Revs out here. You know? Shit. You said, I ain't scared of no ghosts, okay? You said, Diggable, what it do? You said, hey, the Diggable. You said, I'm serious. They concocted it on Palmer's last live, like in real time. What? So now the kids are socials. Girl, stop playing with me. You said, woo. You said, well, Stephanie, hopefully someone has that video of them making up the false stories. There is always video. Yes, child, always video. Okay. Like Anti has no idea how many of her videos and community posts that are in this database. She has no idea, but I know. So we haven't forgotten, ma'am, and we have not let our foot off of your neck. Okay. We're not playing with you. I can see that you're just talking shit nowadays, that you're just talking trash and you're trying to thwart 20 people to believe that you're innocent and all this other stuff. But honey, nobody really gives a fuck on some real shit, okay? We don't believe you, and we most definitely know how much trouble you're in. I think you know too. I don't think you realize how bad, but I do. I do, okay? And I'm going to just leave it at that until more information comes out as public. Then I will go ahead and let you guys know about some things. There's some things I won't be telling. It is other people's story to tell. But my side of it, I can definitely tell. And but I appreciate all of y'all for coming out and checking me out today. I'm gonna go ahead and enjoy the rest of my day. I did just get off around 4 o'clock. So I'm looking to just chill for the rest of the day. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. You said, yes, I hope someone has it. Oh, yes, child. Oh, yes, child. Oh, I will talk to y'all later. I definitely appreciate y'all. But Spigali's, girl, I would fall all the way back and have several seats if I was you. I think you know what I'm talking about, baby. Okay? I know you know. But I'll talk to y'all later. Definitely appreciate y'all for being in the building. Make sure y'all hit the like button on the way in. Guys, there's not much going on in the sector. There's a lot of other things going on in other sectors that I've been checking out. I've been in the true crime sector lately, as y'all know. I've also been hanging out over in the beef sector a bit. There's different parts of the beef sector. And I've been hanging out over in the Mo3 sector a little bit. And there's different parts of that as well. Jaguar Wright has been hanging out over there in the Mo3 as well as the beef sector. She's kind of left the T sector alone. And she's been over there. And there's been quite a bit of information she's been talking about on VS Icon. Y'all need to go over and check her out if y'all haven't subscribed to her. I know Ray Triggs had introduced her channel to us. But y'all can go over and check her out because she been talking about a lot of heavy-ish, okay? And y'all just might want to go over there and check that out because, you know, those stories tend to go on. They tend to be fluid. They tend to, you know, continue on. Whereas these stories here, you know, our sector is so small that we talk about this and talk about that. We might yell and scream about it for a week or two, and then it's dead, right? Whereas over there, those stories kind of tend to be more fluid. They continue to go on, and they continue to be more entertaining. So branch out, people. Okay, get out here, you know, and get to know some other channels and get to know some other spaces. Okay. You said, have a great evening, everybody. You said replay. Definitely appreciate that. You said, I have no idea who that nice farmer she was using his pig video. I have no idea, right? All right, y'all, we out of here. Definitely appreciate y'all for being in the building, and go ahead and hit that like button, guys. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace, guys. Thank y'all for watching. real quick, guys, I just wanted you guys to know, everybody that's still around, listen, guys, we are 3 years in the game. Okay. Shout out to Black Lounge Divine. We have been here since January 15th of 2021. Definitely appreciate all of my day ones, my A1s that have been here. I remember when I started out with just one person in the chat. Shout out to Chat Lives. Always coming for a bitch, okay? But I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody and everybody who has loved me from the beginning. And yes, guys, we are almost 3 years in the game. I will talk to you guys later. Peace, guys. Thank y'all again for watching.